Did you know that scientists around the world are beginning to question Darwin's theory of evolution as modern evidence challenges long-held assumptions? For over 150 years, evolution has been treated as settled science. But cutting-edge research is revealing discoveries that even dedicated evolutionary biologists are struggling to explain within the traditional framework. Now, before we dive into this scientific earthquake, attention easily offended humans. This is your official trigger warning. I'm about to discuss evolution, I'm going to use big scary words that you might not like, and brace yourselves, I'm going to show some images that were created by AI. I know, I'm terrible. Some of you are already typing angry comments about how I'm spreading misinformation just from the title alone. Others are going to have a crisis because my thumbnail wasn't hand-painted by Renaissance masters. Well, here's the thing. You need to chill. I'm Alex Arnold, and this is ARNIE'S Brain Train. This is meant to be a fun, informational video about some controversial scientific topics. That's literally what this channel does. So, it's like being surprised that a pizza place serves pizza. But here's what separates me from your other clickbait nonsense. Everything I'm about to show you is backed by peer-reviewed research from top universities and scientific journals. Every claim, every statistic, every mind-blowing discovery has a source, and they're all listed in the description below. We're talking Cambridge, Stanford, MIT, Harvard, the real deal, not just some blog post or conspiracy website. So, if you're ready to explore why scientists are reconsidering fundamental assumptions about biological evolution based on documented evidence, stick around. If not, there are plenty of other channels that will validate your preconceptions without bothering with citations. Your choice. With all of that out of the way, let's dive into why Darwin's theory is facing some serious challenges in laboratories worldwide. Here we go. Alright everybody, let's start with the cornerstone of Darwin's theory, random mutations. Think about it this way. You're playing the ultimate lottery where you need to roll a billion-sided die and get the exact number that creates something beneficial for survival. That's essentially what Darwin's theory suggests. Pure random chance creating the incredible complexity that we see in living things. But here's where modern science presents a significant challenge to traditional evolutionary theory. Recent research published in journals like Nature and Science is revealing that these mutations might not be so random after all. Dr. Eugene Koonin from the National Center for Biotechnology Information has documented intricate cellular mechanisms that seem to influence which mutations occur and when they happen. Think about it like this. Imagine you're trying to build the most advanced computer ever by randomly throwing circuit boards into the air and hoping that they land in the perfect configuration. Sounds impossible, right? That's what we've been told happens in biology for millions of years. But what if those circuit boards had invisible magnets guiding them into place? We're starting to discover complex gene regulatory networks, entire systems that control how DNA behaves, emerging in ways that make random chance look like a fairy tale. These aren't simple changes either. We're talking about coordinated transformations involving hundreds of genes working together like a perfectly choreographed dance. The mathematics alone presents some serious challenges to random assembly theories. The probability of randomly assembling just one functional protein, remember your body has over 100,000 different types, has been calculated by scientists like Dr. Douglas Axe at around 1 in 10 to the 77th. To put that in perspective, there are only about 10 to the 80th atoms in the observable universe. You'd have better odds of randomly assembling a working space shuttle by throwing metal scraps into a tornado. But wait, there's a little bit more. Modern molecular biology has uncovered something called directed mutation, where organisms actually seem to increase mutation rates in specific genes when facing environmental stress. It's like your DNA has a built-in GPS system that knows exactly where to make changes when survival is on the line. Dr. John Stanford, a Cornell geneticist who literally invented the gene gun, has shown through computer modeling that most mutations are actually harmful, not beneficial. He suggests that random mutations are more likely to break complex biological systems than improve them. Kind of like randomly changing lines of code in your favorite video game and expecting it to run better instead of crashing. Now let's dig into something that should be rock-solid evidence for Darwin's theory: fossils. According to gradualism, the fossil record should be like a perfect family photo album, showing life's slow transition from simple bacteria to complex creatures like us. We should see countless intermediate forms, those crucial missing links that prove species gradually morphed into other species over millions of years. But here's the significant issue that's been challenging paleontologists for decades. The fossil record doesn't always align with this gradual progression model. Enter the Cambrian explosion, an event so dramatic that it's been called Darwin's dilemma by scientists for over a century. About 540 million years ago, boom, complex life forms with eyes, shells, nervous systems, and intricate body plans suddenly appear in the fossil record, like someone hit the fast forward button on evolution. Dr. Stephen Meyer, a Cambridge-educated philosopher of science, describes it in his book Darwin's Doubt. It's like finding a layer of rock with only simple microbes. Then the very next layer contains complex organisms with no transitional forms in between. The sudden appearance of over 35 major animal phyla, that's basically every major body plan we see today, happens in a geological blink of an eye. And here's what really confuses the scientists. Many of these Cambrian creatures had more complex features than their supposed descendants. Take the trilobite eye, for example. These ancient creatures had compound eyes made of calcite crystal lenses that are optically superior to anything we can manufacture today. How does random mutation and natural selection explain creatures getting less sophisticated over time? Darwin himself knew this was a problem. He wrote in On the Origin of Species that the rapid appearance of complex life in the Cambrian posed a serious difficulty for his theory. He hoped future fossil discoveries would fill in the gaps. Well, guess what? We've had over 150 years of intensive fossil hunting with modern technology, satellite imagery, and billions of dollars in funding. So what's the result? According to Dr. Niles Eldridge from the American Museum of Natural History, the pattern of stasis and sudden appearance has only become more pronounced as we've discovered more fossils. We're not finding the gradual transitions. We're finding more examples of complex creatures appearing suddenly without clear evolutionary predecessors. Let me give you some specific examples. Where are the transitional fossils showing the gradual evolution for bat wings from mammal limbs, bird feathers from reptile scales, the human brain from ape ancestors, complex eyes from light-sensitive spots? All of those things are considered holy grails of evolutionary paleontology, and after 150 years of searching, they remain conspicuously absent. It's like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle when someone hid half the pieces. Even more intriguing are the living fossils, creatures like horseshoe crabs, coelacanths, and ginkgo trees that have remained virtually unchanged for hundreds of millions of years. If evolution is constantly happening through gradual change, why do these organisms seem frozen in time? There are some recent discoveries that are making things even more complicated. In 2021, researchers found evidence of complex multicellular life dating back over 1 billion years earlier than previously thought. That's like finding a smartphone in a medieval castle. These discoveries keep pushing back the timeline of complex life, making the evolutionary story even more compressed and miraculous. Okay, now this is where things become particularly fascinating. We're shrinking down to the molecular level, a world so tiny that Darwin couldn't have observed it, yet so crucial that it might hold important keys to understanding life itself. Okay, let's go ahead and try to understand some of these molecular machines and how they work within your own body. Right now, as you're watching this video, trillions of these microscopic marvels are working 24/7 to keep you alive, and their complexity makes our most advanced technology look like Stone Age tools. Let me present some specific examples. Inside every cell in your body, you have a machine called ATP synthase that produces the energy currency that your cells need to function. This molecular motor spins at 9,000 RPM. That's faster than most car engines. It has a rotating shaft, a stator, and even a clutch mechanism, just like a human-designed machine, except it's only 10 nanometers wide. Dr. Michael B., a biochemist at Lehigh University, revolutionized our understanding of these systems with his concept of irreducible complexity. Here's the thing. These molecular machines only work when all of their parts are present and perfectly coordinated. Remove even one component and the entire system crashes. Take the bacterial flagellum, a whip-like propeller that allows bacteria to swim. This incredible machine has over 40 different protein parts working together. A motor, a drive shaft, bushings, a propeller, and even a clutch and a brake system. It spins at up to 100,000 RPM and can reverse direction in 1/4 of a rotor turn. Howard Berg from Harvard calls it the most efficient motor in the universe. But here's the fundamental challenge that's creating ongoing debate in evolutionary biology. How do you gradually evolve something that only works when it's complete? It's like saying a mousetrap evolved one piece at a time. But a mousetrap with just a spring, or just a platform, or just a hammer doesn't catch mice. It's completely useless until all the parts work together perfectly. The DNA repair system in your cells is even more incredible. Every day, your DNA gets damaged about 10,000 times by radiation, chemicals, and normal cellular processes. But you have an army of molecular machines that patrol your chromosomes 24/7, finding and fixing these problems with 99.9% accuracy. Dr. Thomas Lindahl won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for discovering these repair mechanisms, and he described them as more sophisticated than anything human engineers have ever created. These machines can identify damaged DNA, cut it out with surgical precision, insert the correct replacement, and then seal everything back together, all while the rest of your cellular machinery continues running normally. Then there's protein folding. This is a super complex process, so bear with me. Your body produces over 50,000 different proteins, each made from a chain of amino acids that must fold into an exact three-dimensional shape to function properly. So it's like this. A typical protein might have 300 amino acids that could theoretically fold into more possible shapes than there are atoms in the universe. Yet your cells fold them correctly in milliseconds. Dr. Cyrus Leventhal calculated that if a protein tried to fold by randomly sampling all possible configurations, it would take longer than the age of the universe to find the right shape. This is called Leventhal's paradox, and it suggests that proteins have built-in folding instructions that guide them to the correct structure. Now, I'm not trying to make a case here, but the more that we study these molecular machines, the more that they resemble intelligently designed technology. They have error-checking systems, quality control mechanisms, backup systems, and even recycling programs. It's like finding a microscopic factory that makes Apple's manufacturing processes look primitive. Now, I'm sure most of you have been taught that natural selection, survival of the fittest, is the master key that unlocks all of evolution's mysteries. But here's something that might surprise you. Natural selection can only work with what already exists. It's a filter, not a creator. It's like a talent show judge who can pick the best singers, but can't actually create musical ability. Think about it logically. Natural selection can explain why giraffes with longer necks survived better when food was scarce up high, but it can't explain where necks came from in the first place. This is a crucial distinction that often gets glossed over in textbooks. But we now have modern science uncovering mechanisms of biological change that are far more dynamic and sophisticated than Darwin ever imagined. And understanding these mechanisms is incredibly valuable because they're actively shaping your life right now. First, let's talk about epigenetics, probably the most revolutionary discovery in biology since DNA itself. Dr. Bruce Lipton, a former Stanford researcher, calls it the new biology because it's completely rewriting our understanding of heredity and adaptation. So here's the game changer. Your environment, experiences, stress levels, diet, and even your thoughts can actually change how your genes are expressed. These changes can then be passed down to your children and grandchildren. It's like your genes have switches that can be turned on or off based on your life experiences. The Dutch hunger winter study is a perfect example. During World War II, pregnant women in the Netherlands experienced severe famine. Scientists tracked their children and grandchildren for decades and found that this traumatic experience literally changed the gene expression patterns that were inherited by future generations. The grandchildren of famine survivors had different metabolisms, stress responses, and disease susceptibilities, even though their DNA sequence was unchanged. Dr. Moshe Schiff from McGill University has shown that these epigenetic changes can happen incredibly rapidly, sometimes within hours or days of environmental changes. This is evolution happening in real time, not over millions of years. And then we have horizontal gene transfer, a mechanism that sounds like science fiction, but it's absolutely real. Instead of only inheriting genes from your parents, vertical transfer, organisms can actually swap genetic material directly with completely unrelated species. This is especially common in bacteria, and it's how antibiotic resistance spreads so rapidly. A bacterium can literally share its resistance genes with other bacteria of completely different species. It's like instantly uploading and downloading biological software updates. Dr. Carl Woese from the University of Illinois argued that horizontal gene transfer was so common early in life's history that the traditional tree of life should actually look more like a web of interconnected networks. This challenges the entire Darwinian framework of gradual branching evolution. But perhaps the most fascinating mechanism is self-organization, the spontaneous emergence of complex patterns and structures from simple interactions. You see this everywhere in nature. Flocks of birds creating perfect formations without a leader, ant colonies building sophisticated structures without blueprints, and snowflakes forming intricate patterns that are never repeated. Dr. Stuart Kaufman from the Santa Fe Institute has shown that life itself might be an inevitable result of self-organizing chemical systems. Instead of life being an incredibly unlikely incident, it might actually be a fundamental property of complex chemistry, like how crystals automatically form organized structures when conditions are right. Now, here's why this matters to you. These mechanisms mean that you have so much more control over your biological destiny than previously thought. Your lifestyle choices aren't just affecting you, they're potentially programming genetic changes that could benefit or harm your descendants. It's both empowering and sobering. The field of systems biology is revealing that life operates more like the internet than like a mechanical clock. Instead of simple cause and effect relationships, we're seeing complex networks where small changes can have massive effects throughout the entire system. Dr. James Shapiro from the University of Chicago describes cells as cognitive entities that can sense their environment, process information, and make decisions about how to respond. This isn't metaphorical. Cells actually have computational abilities that allow them to solve problems and adapt in real time. All of these mechanisms, epigenetics, horizontal gene transfer, self-organization, and cellular cognition, operate far faster and more intelligently than random mutation and natural selection. They suggest that life has built-in capacities for rapid directed change that make traditional evolutionary theory look incomplete at best. So what does all this evidence add up to? Well, we've journeyed through the microscopic world of molecular machines, explored the mysteries hidden in ancient rocks, and discovered biological mechanisms that operate like sophisticated software programs. Let's put all this together and see the bigger picture that's emerging. First, the mathematical improbabilities that we've discussed represent a fundamental challenge to purely materialistic explanations of life's complexity. When the odds against something happening randomly are greater than the number of opportunities that could have existed in the entire history of the universe, we need to seriously reconsider and think about alternative explanations. Second, The fossil record's pattern of sudden appearance and stasis suggests that major biological innovations might happen through rapid, coordinated changes rather than gradual accumulation of tiny modifications. This aligns perfectly with what we're discovering about epigenetics and cellular information processing systems. Third, the irreducible complexity of molecular machines indicates that life operates on engineering principles that require all components to be present and coordinated from the beginning. These systems show evidence of foresight, planning, and sophisticated problem solving that's difficult to explain through undirected natural processes. And fourth, the newly discovered mechanisms of biological change, from epigenetics to horizontal gene transfer, reveal that life has built-in capacities for rapid, intelligent adaptation that go far beyond what Darwin envisioned. Life isn't passive clay, being slowly molded by environmental pressures. It's more like a sophisticated software system that can rewrite its own code in responses to challenges. What's emerging is a picture of life as an information-rich, organized, rapidly adaptive system with capabilities that mirror our own most advanced technologies. Whether this points to design, unknown natural laws, or entirely new scientific paradigms, one thing is clear. The story of life is far more complex and fascinating than we previously understood. These are not just some abstract scientific theories. Understanding these mechanisms helps us appreciate the incredible sophistication of our own bodies, make better health choices based on epigenetic research, and maintain a sense of wonder about the natural world that surrounds us. Science at its best doesn't just satisfy curiosity. It transforms how we see ourselves and our place in the cosmos. And there you have it, the scientific evidence that's challenging established evolutionary theory in laboratories worldwide. From the precision of molecular machines to the paradigm-shifting discoveries in epigenetics, it's clear that evolutionary theory faces significant questions that current models struggle to address. And remember, all of my sources for today's journey are listed in the description below or in the pinned comment. I encourage you to dive deeper and explore these topics yourself. That's what real science is all about. Following the evidence wherever it leads, even when it challenges our most cherished beliefs. If you enjoyed this video, smash that subscribe button and join ARNIE'S Brain Train. Your support helps me create content that tackles controversial topics and present information that doesn't worry about anybody's hurt feelings, just truth and evidence. If you want to see me improve any aspect of my videos, make them more inclusive, or dive deeper into specific topics, your subscription and engagement help me grow and create even better content for our shows. Drop a comment below telling me what blew your mind the most today, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss out on our weekly adventures through the most fascinating mysteries of science, history, and human knowledge. Until next time, keep those neurons firing, keep questioning everything, and remember, the world isn't always this simple, but it's always this interesting. All aboard for the next brain-bending journey. See you guys there.